The quickest way to become successful is to help others become successful. So, not really into this whole 9-to-5 corporate thing, are you? Well, my name is Des Cole, and on today's episode of Kbfl Dyfrent, we're going to talk about how you can escape the 9-to-5 by implementing a concept that I created called value-based living. I'll explain to you exactly what that means and also give you a 5-step guide to how you can implement it into your life as soon as possible. So if you're not subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you find value in this video at all, then leave a like on this video and go ahead and share it with a friend. We could all use some good information these days. So without further ado, let's talk value-based living. So what exactly is value-based living? Well, it derives from a concept used by business consultants to get away from being paid for the amount of time that it took them to complete a project. Now you may be asking yourself, well, don't most people get paid for their time? Like, that's why we have a minimum wage, right? Well, you're not technically wrong, but let me actually bring in my homie Christo from the YouTube and education channel, The Future, to explain a little bit better than I can.
You want to know my hourly rate. So my hourly rate's this times this. So I have a question for you, client. Why do you want to know my hourly rate?
I guess I want to know where my $18,000 is going.
Okay, so does that mean if I do work less hours, I should charge you less?
Yeah.
So if I go over those hours, I should charge you more?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying to me, you value this logo taking longer rather than shorter. So you value time over money then?
Sure, as a business person, yeah.
So here's the deal. I work really fast. I can come up with a logo, but I'm being punished for me being efficient and really good. You understand the logic doesn't work now?
Sure.
That's the problem. So clients can't have it both ways. They can't say, tell me how many hours, but you can't go over it. I can't put a cap on it. It has to have some symmetry to the logic. So if I work less, you want me to pay me less. Most business people value time. Time is the most important thing I have. That's it. So if I could do a logo for you right now and you love it, in 5 minutes, are you saying it's worth less than 18 or is it worth more now? Because I saved you a lot of time. We can go to market right now. It's worth more. So charging by the hour punishes me for being good. So my job is this, Jung. I'm going to give you an amazing logo that you're not going to have to change for a long time. A mark that you're going to be proud of, that people are going to look at and clearly understand what it is that you do. That's worth $18,000.
So Chris does a great job at pointing out the root problem for getting paid for your time. It's that it doesn't account for the time, skill set, energy, or talent that it took to create something amazing and make it look easy / do it quickly. So because true business people value their time and you value your ability to do high quality work, then value-based pricing becomes a tool that allows you to get paid for your value and not how long it took you to do it. It simply changes the line of questioning that you can have with a potential client or somebody that you're gonna work with from how much time will it take you to what do you value your time at in dollars to I'll pay you for how much time that it took you to finish it. To you getting to ask the client, how big is the problem? Assign a value to that problem in dollars, and let's come to an agreement on how much value I bring to solving that problem. You see the difference? You get to own the value that you provide instead of just getting paid what someone else thinks you should get paid or whatever budget they've allocated to that position or role. And from experience, I can tell you what this subtle difference in the line of questioning will result in. You will no longer work with people who don't respect your business and just want to get something cheap and fast, which will in return open you up to the opportunities and people who will respect your business and not only pay you what you deserve, but allow you to own the value that you provide, which then will allow you to get paid exponentially more money than you are now, which will then bring you a sense of satisfaction that your skill set, time, and energy is being recognized and valued, which will then give you mental energy to be able to use your time to improve your skill set and to give it to more people. So because I was a first-hand witness to all of those things happening to me, then I've figured if value-based pricing can do this for our business, then can we take this same concept and use it for everything else in our life? And to be honest, when I thought about it, the business that we've been building for the past couple of years has really been the manifestation of that concept lived out. I founded Dyfrent around 3 years ago with my homie Jay, and since then we've created a clothing and art store called Dyfrent NY that sells our merchandise as well as a hand-picked selection of other brands. We have a consulting agency called Dyfrent Consulting that helps businesses holistically transition into the digital age through branding, design, and leveraging productivity frameworks. And we also have a media arm, which you're watching right now, where I make these videos teaching what we know, as well as have executives that work behind the scenes at top companies in the world that share their story on our podcast about what they know. So in summary, we just provide value in all of the areas that we're passionate about, those being art, fashion, and innovation. So if you want to see more about how we implement value-based living into our business and into our lives, definitely check out some of our websites. I'll have them actually linked down below, and you can learn more about Dyfrent and everything that we're doing. But without further ado, let me give you guys my 5 principled guide to value-based living. Now, before I actually get into the entire guide, I actually just want to give you guys a little bit more evidence to how I know that the journey in the corporate world is really long-term, not really what you're looking for. So since the pandemic, I've actually been using LinkedIn rampantly, and mostly what I use it for is to reach out to people who work at these top corporate companies, those being Nike, Adidas, Google, you name it, those top companies. I just reach out to people that work there and mostly top executives, and I try to have conversations with them. Those conversations eventually turned into a podcast that you can actually find on the Dyfrent channel called Navigating Now, where we talk about their story and how they got to where they were going. And I won't say that this was with everybody, but with the vast majority of people that I spoke to, it was a reoccurring theme that most of them would be either running another company on the side of their job, or they would just have a group of friends that got together that did projects outside of work just because they felt restricted and felt like their creativeness and just their ideas in general were being limited. And not only that, even though that they had reached the pinnacle of their career, they all would usually say that their ultimate dream was to own their own company or their own consultancy or just own what they do in general. So believe me when I say, before you spend the next decade of your life chasing the executive job at one of these top companies, try owning the value that you provide first before selling it to another company, and you will find the freedom that you're looking for. But I just wanted to give you guys that because that's definitely a lesson that I've learned in the past couple of years that I think could help you as well. So without further ado, let's get into my 5-step guide to value-based living. All right, so if you don't have a notepad out or your notes app open right now, then do that first. But numero uno, number 1, I've already said this multiple times throughout this video, but to reiterate it again, don't trade your time for money. Own the value you provide. Like I was just saying, as much as you think being a high-level professional at a corporate job is the dream and the goal, you must understand that you will get paid exponentially more in money and time for owning the value that you provide instead of being employed for what you do. I was actually fortunate enough to meet a man named Ariel Ackerman. Ariel's actually building skyscrapers in Brooklyn as we speak. He's a big-time real estate developer, but he actually, out of college, he developed the technology that allows us to use Google Street View, basically, and he sold that to Google for millions of dollars out of college, which then gave him the time and the money to be able to go and do real estate development for the next years of his life. So as you can see, in that case, it is much more to your advantage to develop your own intellectual property instead of being an employee, because I bet you that he wouldn't have been able to do that as a software developer at Google. Now that leads us perfectly into number 2, which is don't be an employee, be an asset that collaborates. I think the best example I can give of this is Kanye West. In all of his attempts to do fashion at a large scale, whether it was with Nike or Adidas, he often got the short end of the stick when it came to the back end of the deal as far as percentage, because He was just an individual. He did not approach those companies with a business, an EIN number. And so because Kanye did not have that EIN number, did not have a business, he had zero leverage when he wanted to use these big companies like Nike and Adidas manufacturing and distribution. So to that point, I could say that Yeezy taught me to not do business as an individual. Do business as an entity, and then you will be able to own the intellectual property that you have out in the world over time. Not to mention that when you own your own time and you own your own business, then that allows you to only do business with people that you are aligned with. You don't have to do business with people that you disagree with just because they're giving you a check. And that's another part of the freedom that having and owning your own time and your own business affords you. So moving on to number 3, don't sell, serve. Many people coming from the corporate world, especially in the marketing and sales departments, really struggle with this because usually they're taught that selling is a psychological game where you have to trick the person in order to sell something. So instead of feeling like you have to convince people with psychological tactics, really, you just have to be the person that serves, be the person that has skills and that has a network that can help anybody. Whenever you walk into the room, be the asset. Like I said in point 2, be an asset instead of an employee. And everywhere you walk, you'll be able to provide value. And if you're that person, then whoever you're talking to, all you need to do is figure out what the problem is, how big the problem is, and then you can figure out how much you can get paid for solving that problem. All right, so moving on to number 4, don't come with problems, come with solutions. Now this point has to do with more of your mindset in general. A lot of people, whenever they see a problem, they just like to complain about it. Where you can become an asset if you can see a problem and then think of a solution and be able to communicate the solution in business terms, then you will become that asset. And not just the fact that it'll help you in business, but not complaining and being the solution person really motivates others around you, and being that person in your community, in your circle, is highly valuable, and it'll definitely give you a sense of personal satisfaction that you're the person that people come to with problems. And lastly, number 5 is provide value in places you are curious about. Now, I actually heard this from, I think it was a podcast, but it was a few years ago where I heard somebody say that curiosity is underrated and calling is overrated. And his explanation for that is that most people try to find their calling, and if they can't put their finger on it, then they usually get frozen by it, or they don't usually do anything about it. But someone who follows their curiosities is someone who's always active, and because of that activeness, they will just end up running right into their calling just by following their curiosities. So I would offer the same advice to you. Follow your curiosities. Don't get stuck thinking about, is this my calling or not? If it feels good and the passion still burns for what you're doing while you're doing it, then keep along with it, and it'll probably lead you to exactly where you need to be. Now that makes up my 5-step guide to value-based living. I hope you guys found some good value in that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel though, because I will be making more of the detailed videos on how you can actually implement it / learn the skills that you need to be able to do it actually in your life. Make sure you guys stick around for that, because I'll be making more videos around that. But before we move on to the outro, let me leave you guys with a pro tip. If you want to be more successful, don't make a more expensive product or increase the price of your service. Solve bigger problems. So I created this concept because I truly think that it's really the key to what we're all looking for, to what we all want, which is personal satisfaction, professional satisfaction, a sense of ownership and accountability over our lives, peace of mind, a sense of purpose, and the ability to use our gifts and talents in the world. Nobody wants to feel replaceable, and nobody wants to feel like they're just showing up just for a paycheck and living for the weekends. It's just not a sustainable model, and it leads to, I'm not even gonna talk about it. So I really think that this concept can definitely help you if you're feeling stuck in the 9-to-5, or if you're not even in the 9-to-5 but you're not sure what to do. I really think that this is the key. Before I leave you guys, I just want to leave you with a couple more words of encouragement / concepts that I think will help you in your journey. First, I want to give you 3 words that I think will definitely help you along your way. And those words are discipline, formlessness, and responsibility. I highly encourage you to try and master these concepts both in understanding and in action, and you will definitely unlock exactly what you're looking for. And lastly, I just have to remind you to believe in yourself and believe in your worth, because without that, you won't be able to do anything. So thank you guys so much if you've stuck around to this far in the video. If you want to actually learn the skills that will allow you to escape the 9-to-5, then again, I highly recommend that you subscribe to the Dyfrent channel. If you found value today, leave a like, and like I said in the beginning, share this video with a friend, because trust me, we all need it. So thank you guys again for joining me. I'm your boy Des Cole. This is Kbfl Dyfrent, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Peace.